Welcome to the Cyclical Doula Podcast. I'm Emma, a certified fertility awareness educator, miscarriage doula, and the founder of MMA LLC. This space is for women who want to understand their bodies deeply, not just memorize information, but actually feel confident in interpreting their cycles. Here, we talk about ovulation, hormones, cervical mucus, basal body temperature, and all that messy in between emotional layers that come with being a woman. We talk about trying to conceive, avoiding pregnancy without hormones, postpartum transitions, pregnancy loss, perimenopause, and everything in between. Because body literacy isn't just about charting. It's about the autonomy. It's about informed consent. It's about not outsourcing your reproductive decisions to guesswork or fear. Each week, you'll hear conversations with women's health professionals, birth workers, educators, and researchers, along with solo episodes where I teach practical skills you can apply to your own cycle right away. If you have ever felt like you should have learned this information sooner, if you have ever felt disconnected from your cycle, if you want to raise the next generation without shame around their bodies, you are in the right place. So grab your tea, open up your notes app, and let's build cycle confidence together.
Welcome to the space where cycles breathe, where the real raw life of a mama leads from other.
Welcome back to the Cyclical Doula Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Kim, the founder of Magnetic Wellness. And Magnetic Wellness is a biomagnetism practice dedicated to supporting the body's self-healing capabilities through energetic and pH balance. Kim serves women and mothers in the Somerville and Charleston Tri-County area, uses therapeutic magnets to help regulate the nervous system, support hormone function, improve gut health, and promote emotional regulation. I am so excited to have Kim on today. Such a cool story about how Kim and I met. We met on one of those, like the Peanut app, like one of those like friend apps when we both moved to the area, but we were living in Vermont beforehand. So like, what a fun random way to connect. But I'm so excited to have you here, Kim.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here too.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you'd like to share just about who you are as like just a human being outside of the work aspect of it?
Yeah, there's a lot outside of the work aspect.
I know,
right?
that's
There
just so
always
much of
is.
who you are. Yeah.
I'm a mom of 2 little people, and that's really consuming,
For sure.
of course, but they're also like a really huge reason for doing this work and kind of getting into this work. So it's all connected, like all of the things, like everything we're going to talk about today, we're going to be like, well, that's because it's connected, right? So magnetic wellness has truly been like the connector of all of the things, like a lot of passions, as well as like real like need for myself and my family. So I'm obviously very passionate about all things natural living, healthy food, fitness as well. So
Awesome.
and I also hate wearing shoes. So
That's a good fun fact.
that's a
I like
random
that.
thing about me.
It's so good. I've been asking all of my podcast guests what their favorite like rhythm or ritual is in this current life season. Is there something that you come back to on a daily basis?
Yes and no. So I thought about this for a long time and I was like, I'm not going to be that person that's like, well, like I just get up before my kids and I do this 7-step routine and that's not me. I've tried all of those things. And for me, it's just this like continual check-in with myself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the rhythm and routine that I need today?
Yeah.
And that's been really helpful not to like put myself in a box of like, this is the routine that is how I survive, because my kids are really not routine people. So the routine needs to be not having a routine and not having,
Yes.
and like giving myself permission to, some days let go of that. And some days I have, the dry brush, the sauna, the castor oil pack, and I'm sitting in front of my red light, but that's not realistic to do that every day. And so, I have been just trying to check in with myself every day and see like, what does that need to be? So
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. And yeah, your kids are little too, so it's hard to, I'm sure, to have any type of strong routine, even as they get bigger. But
yes. So we
absolutely.
kind of just fly with rhythm versus routine. And the rhythm is really just that we're flexible, I think. So.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. All right, let's dive into it. What, for people who are listening who have no idea what we're talking about, tell everybody about what biomagnetism is. Is that how you pronounce it? I should have asked you beforehand.
Biomagnetism, yeah. And
Okay.
it's sometimes called magnetic pair therapy because you're placing pairs of magnets on the body. So there's always going to be kind of two. Well, there's usually way more than two, but you're intentionally placing pairs of two at a time. And in your introduction, you kind of explained that a little bit. The goal is to restore balance in different areas of the body. So when we create a balanced internal environment, our body is able to self-correct and heal. So
Hmm.
we really just kind of like return that power to our body in a gentle way so that it can then heal itself. So it's kind of as it can be as simple as that, or it can be way more complex and sciencey, but it's a really cool modality because it does mix kind of the world of like kind of energy work, but
Yeah.
also like physical science of magnets on the body and pH and things that can thrive in acidic environments and that sort of thing. So um
Yeah, that's good. So what drew you into doing this? Maybe I know that it started with you using it yourself, but what what drew you into?
yes, so I discovered it through my own health journey, and it was really, really transformative for me. I was struggling with various different autoimmune dysfunction in my body, as well as awful, awful allergies, amongst a variety of other things. And I had been trying all of the things, all of the supplements, all of the protocols, all of the, stress reduction. And I struggled with these things pre-kids. So
Hmm.
I discovered biomagnetism after my son was born. So I was definitely in a different season and
Yeah,
things were a lot worse during that
for
time.
sure.
So I was seeking something that was safe to do when I was breastfeeding, which was
Hmm.
really huge because a lot of supplements you can't take. You have to be really careful doing any kind of detox or restrictive diet that might have potentially helped me at the time. And so I just went all in on, I was like, I have nothing, like I have no other options right now. So sure, put magnets all over my body, right? And I was kind of like, heal me. So
Yeah.
then, after I worked with a practitioner for, I would say a few months, I forget exactly, but I went like almost every week for a lot of weeks. And all of a sudden, I was no longer taking really high strength allergy meds. And little by little, all of a sudden, I didn't have these issues where one little thing would kind of set my whole system off. And then I got pregnant with my daughter and we moved to South Carolina and it was like a whirlwind. And then as I kind of call it catching my breath again or breathing or something like that, I kept being pulled back to it and I knew in my heart that like that was what I wanted to do and it was what was really aligned for myself and my family and building a business that was working the way that I wanted to be working and doing the kind of work that I felt called to be doing. So here we are.
I love that. That's so cool. All right. I have like talked to you a teeny bit about this, but I feel like I still don't fully understand how the whole magnet thing works. So can you explain the like I get like that it can be energy work as well, but can you explain like a teeny bit of like the science of why
Just-
magnets on our bodies is helpful?
Yes. So when our body is stressed, whether that's physically, chemically, or emotionally, like our emotions have a huge impact on our body. Like stress is acidic. Like stress and worry and anger and all these things are acidic. So one area of the body will draw hydrogen ions or hydroxide from another area, altering that pH, and creating either hyperalkaline or hyperacidic areas. So we know that all different kind of pathogens, bacteria, virus, parasites can only survive under one given condition.
Right.
So when there is dysfunction or when there is something like that active somewhere in the body and we gently restore what is optimal pH for that region, those things are no longer able to thrive there.
Right.
So then our system is able to process those things out, detox, and restore balance in that region.
Super cool. I feel like what a cool way that our bodies can react to that. So having the pairs of magnets help to keep that, like to help those levels. Is that why you put them down in pairs?
Yes. So the creators of biomagnetism like literally dragged magnets over the body for various different health concerns and
Mhm.
came up with each of the pairs that so it's still like so cool. So when we're in a session, we use muscle testing. So muscle testing is getting biofeedback from the body, and it's shown by viewing a leg length discrepancy. So when there is imbalance in, I'm going like this because my muscle
You do
testing
yeah.
method is with the feet. So I'm like thinking about doing it. But when you place the first magnet, the leg length discrepancy is there. And when you place the corresponding magnet, they come back into balance. So it's this really, really cool
That's
thing
really
that
cool.
you're kind of like, wait, it does work.
Yeah.
It's still like every single time that I'm working and like, I'm still just like, I know this works, but then it does work. So it's really cool to see that exact feedback from the body.
Yeah. That's super cool. So you talked about how it can be super helpful, or just that our bodies produce a lot of stress during all sorts of different times.
Yes.
Is it so specific to the person on how this is helping them regulate their nervous system and like coming back into balance, or is it consistent on like a general basis about how biomagnetism is working?
So yes and no. We
Yeah.
all are so different, and we kind of talk about it visually as like an onion. We all have these different layers of things going on, and everyone's onion is like so different. So you never know what layers you've got going on.
Yeah.
But in general, magnets on the body signal safety, and
Mm.
we feel safe, we feel calm, we can shift out of fight or flight mode, and really activate that parasympathetic nervous system. So yes and no,
Yeah, that's good.
because we are so bio individual. So but in general, everyone says it's very relaxing when they're laying on the table. Some people fall asleep and really go like sometimes
I
they're
love that.
snarky, and that is perfect because that's the epitome of calm.
Rest. Yeah, that's so good. How long are your sessions usually?
So, an initial consultation and your first session is usually between an hour and a half to 2 hours, mostly because just chatting with people
Yeah,
and
for
getting
sure.
to know their health history and their goals and their, that takes time, and that's so
Yeah.
much information from the body. So we try to shoot for an hour and a half, but a lot of times it's more like 2 hours, especially if it's someone totally new. I mean, honestly, though, because even if it's a friend, we're like, what? We have time to chat
Yeah.
quietly.
Yeah. For sure. Absolutely. Talk about all
And
the things.
then a follow-up session is usually an hour and 15 minutes, because it's really just a little bit more of like jumping right into it and less catching up.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's awesome. So cool. Okay, so you are working with women, mothers through all different types of seasons of life, but I know that you started in your postpartum season. So what do you feel like is the most important thing that bodies need during those times of like postpartum, maybe even preconception, stuff like that?
Yeah. So I think preconception, there's so much underlying that
Mhm.
that maybe we are aware of, maybe we aren't.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting time because we really can just um support the body and prepare it and improve optimal function in the body so that it's
Right.
ready to conceive. As we're moving into postpartum, like we need slow, we need rest, we need someone to like nurture us.
Mhm.
And it truly is that as we're integrating huge hormonal shifts and emotional shifts and
Yeah.
stored stress and, trauma, even if your birth was not full of trauma, our
Mhm.
bodies experience trauma. There's so much in there. So
Yeah.
it's like a permission slip to come in and rest and like just rest and
Mhm.
gently rebalance the body during a time that needs everything told. So
Yeah, for sure. So it's a huge aspect of like those physical changes of our what's happening in our body, that like energetic space and the emotional side of all of those things is what it's sounding like to me. What when it when all of those things are happening, do you feel like clients that you're working with, like, is it all at once that they're starting to feel it, or is it like slow integration into all of those different aspects?
it can be either.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about biomagnetism and using muscle testing is we're tapping into whatever the body is ready to work on right now. So there might be underlying things that we don't see until a fourth or a fifth session because your body is not ready to deal with that.
Mhm.
And that can be like actual underlying, like I had Epstein-Barr virus and all these other things, and that wasn't discovered until like way further on because there was like a lot of other layers of my onion was covering up some stuff. And so that goes the same with like emotional stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many things that can impact our body that we aren't even aware of, which
Mhm.
is where it gets really incredible, as well as the stuff
Yeah.
we are aware of.
Right. So as we're talking about this, I feel a lot like a lot of the women that you're probably working with have tried like you had said earlier and with your story, had tried like all the different things and like are like kind of like, all right, like what else could possibly work? Which I feel like maybe comes from a lot of figuring out how to trust themselves too. How do you approach care, or like what have you seen is helpful for people when they're kind of like at that like overwhelm of doing all the things but still are not trusting and still don't feel great?
Yeah. I think it's really this reminder that we are not like broken and it's not a matter of doing better or trying harder or researching the right thing that's going to fix this. And sometimes it's like realizing that you can slow down, tune into your body, and like cut away some of the noise. Like,
Mhm.
I'm definitely not someone who's going to be like, well, stop taking all of your supplements and, stop doing this because no, that's your choice. You can discuss that with your doctor. But I know in my own health journey and
Yeah.
evolution, like simplifying things
Mhm.
has really helped. So, like, tuning into that, giving ourselves like the reminder that our bodies are doing these things for a reason.
Yeah.
It's information, and we are the people who know our bodies best.
Mhm.
We live in them all the time.
Right.
Just when we shift that back to we hold the power, it becomes more like collaborative with our body instead of kind of like us versus our body or like forcing this onto our body. So I think for the women that I've been working with lately, like they've read my own story where I was just like, but wait, if I can just try harder and manage this better and do this
Yeah.
better, then I will achieve this thing here, and when we like surrender to softness, I guess. Surrender to softness. Maybe that's
Yeah.
my slogan for the year, surrender to softness.
I love it. So good. Yeah. I think that's really helpful. I think taking that time to just, and I like you've mentioned, being in seasons where, especially when early postpartum or like young kids, when there's so much just stuff to get done, that like mothers are known to not put themselves at the forefront of making sure that we're taking care of, and being able to put that as a priority is
Yes.
awesome. And being able to do it in a way that's really helping overall is really great.
And even like just to the mindset of like trying to choose like, let's say, healthier, non-toxic things in our life, or
Right.
you talk about like that can be toxic too,
Yeah.
because so there is like the stress from that
Hmm.
on your system, the stress from whether it be restrictive dieting for managing your gut problems, or you know I don't know, there's like a variety of different things, but
Right.
that can be toxic to our body too, even though
For sure.
our intention is so good, but sometimes just slowing it down.
Yeah, I think that's really important to remember, of just like, even when you're trying to do the best of all the things, it can still cause all of that stress in areas where it's gonna harm the like physical and mental part of your own well-being, as you're trying to do all of those things that are right with all of those things. So yeah, absolutely, 100%. What else do you want people to know about biomagnetism? Because we've talked about a bunch of different things, but is there anything else that you're thinking of that you want to share?
I think mostly just like to have an open mind about it, because people could be listening to this from anywhere in the world, obviously, but if it's a local southern listener, it's not really heard of around here. But in New England, there's actually like so many practitioners, because it's used for management of Lyme disease,
Okay.
and all the different co-infections that go with that. So I think like just being open to a different modality.
Mm-hmm.
It's subtle, but it's powerful. And our bodies like know what to do. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just need a little bit of help kind of like removing those roadblocks so it can do what it's supposed to do. So I think
Yeah.
like it doesn't have to be restrictive or hard or harsh.
Mm-hmm.
That it really can be gentle, and it should be gentle.
So good. Yeah, that's amazing. I do think it's one of those things where, especially when it's something that we've never heard of before, that you're like, is that really a thing? But when you're able to, like you said, like when you're able to physically see when the second magnet goes on, that you're able to see the change in the muscles, like that's really cool.
And some clients feel it.
Yeah.
Like, I joke around and I pick on my husband because he is like so annoying to muscle test, because he's like, I felt my right leg get longer and I felt this one get shorter. And like, so he, interestingly enough, is like so in tune with his body in terms of,
Yeah.
and he's not someone who you would like think would be like that. But, and then some clients don't feel anything, and there's no like right or wrong, but it really is this very cool, like, you're not necessarily gonna like, if you were laying on my table, you wouldn't see it yourself,
Right.
but I could take a picture for you if you wanted. And it's a really, really, really cool.
Hey, I'm just popping in real quick to say, make sure you're subscribed to the Cyclical Doula podcast on whichever platform you're listening to, and don't miss upcoming conversations. If this episode is resonating with you, please share it with a friend, rate it, and write a review. This is how this movement grows, not through algorithms, but through women talking to women. All right, let's jump back into it. As I'm thinking about this, I feel like it could be applicable to like anybody. using this, but is there a group of people or like a season of life where using biomagnetism is like not a good option? Because I feel like that's easier than saying like who should use.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do not work on pregnant women, and I also do not practice remotely. But if I was which I plan to learn that,
Yeah.
but right now I really like the hands-on. So if I practice remotely, I could work remotely on pregnant women, but that's mostly the ones that I don't work with. I'm still figuring out how to work on little people because
Yeah,
they
that was going
like
to be my
playing with
question.
magnets.
Yeah.
And occasionally when they've been sick, they'll let me put some on. But um, I'm trying to like navigate that just in my own life, like what actually works for my kids because
Hmm.
they see me work with them, they love playing with them, like that sort of thing. And occasionally they'll leave them on their body, but they're not doing it long enough. So that's kind of where I would say like maybe 8 years old when I don't know if that's the right age or not, but like
Yeah, no, that's a good.
where maybe like they would just want to listen to some music and you could do like a shorter modified session for them. That would be better. But right now my kids are not 8, so I'm not working with them.
Yeah,
Um yeah. So
that
mostly
makes sense.
just little kids and pregnant.
Awesome. How long, we talked about like how long the session was, but how long are the magnets on somebody for that whole like hour time frame? Okay.
So you go through the whole muscle testing, which takes probably like 15 or 20 minutes. And then you start placing the pairs. And honestly, that takes the most amount of time just because it's this like very individual like map of getting
For
that
sure.
all over your body. So that takes the most time. And then they sit for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Um, I would say they're probably like from start to finish, it's like maybe 30 minutes between putting them on and actual like full marination.
Yeah, no, that's helpful because I was thinking about like as we were talking about little kids and age, I'm like, okay, like if there's a time frame of like could your little kid lay still for 30 minutes, then maybe that depending on the
Yeah,
age,
like
but
mine
most
when
4-year-olds are not going to be able to do that.
when my kids have been sick and I tape them on and like let them watch TV or something, on occasion they'll actually just like let it be there.
Hmm.
But for the most part, they're just like, yeah, put magnets on me. And they're on for like a
2
minute.
seconds.
They're like,
Yeah.
I'll fix things.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. That's good though. Helpful. All right. What else do you want to share or what do you hope people are walking away with as we're wrapping up this conversation?
Yeah. I think one thing for any local listeners is I will be hosting an in-person workshop in March for anyone curious about this modality. You'll get a chance to actually use a few detox pairs on your body. So it'll be like a small group setting at Collective Wellness in Somerville. And so it'll be a chance to like ask questions and see if it might be a good fit for you without like committing to one-on-one sessions in a package and all that. So
That's awesome. How else can people find you?
yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Magnetic Wellness Mama. And that is also where you can find my website, which has more information about the modality, what sessions look like, and kind of more about my story. There is also a booking link there that kind of gives you an idea on availability. And for the most part, I'm working Friday afternoons and weekends right now. So I've actually found that that works pretty well for most people. I have a home office that I'm sitting in. And then I also am offering services at Collective Wellness in Somerville. So if you're someone maybe more located in the Charleston area, that would be a little bit more centrally located, considering we both live in Somerville, but we're like 45 minutes away.
I know it's one of the craziest things. Yeah, awesome. Well,
I am on
thanks.
Facebook too, but I feel like people aren't in Facebook groups as
I
much.
would agree with that, but I will make sure that we link all the things in the show notes. So I'll put all of those things that Kim talked about in the show notes so that you can be sure to find her. And I hope that you follow her and connect with her, and we'll make sure that that date for that March experience is in there for people who are local.
Cool.
And yeah, thanks so much for being here and sharing your story and what you're working on.
Thanks for having me, Emma. That's awesome.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here today on the Cyclical Doula Podcast. If this episode resonated with you, the most powerful thing that you can do is to share it. Send it to a friend, text it to your sister, forward it to that group chat. This is how conversations about our bodies start changing. Quietly, organically, woman to woman. If you are listening and thinking, okay, I want help applying this to my cycle, I offer free cycle clarity calls. It's a relaxed conversation over Zoom where we talk through your goals, your charting practices, and what kind of support that would actually make sense for you. You can book one at emma.com/free. And if you haven't already, make sure you're following or subscribe to the Cyclical Doula podcast so that you don't miss future episodes. And if you feel called to leave a rating or a review, it genuinely helps more women find this work. So thank you. You deserve to understand your body. You deserve to feel confident in your reproductive choices. And you don't have to figure it out alone. I'll see you next week. Thanks for being here.
Welcome to the space where cycles breathe, where the real raw life of a mama leads. From motherhood's highs to charting the low, your body's story is the star of the show.